then August 11th, I was like, Gary, I'm thinking about opening like an art center and gallery in Bethel. Would you be interested at all in doing an art show? I think it took 12 seconds. And he was like, yes, I'll do a show. And then I'll do another show. And so, Gary, I can't thank you enough for that support. That was the do it. Okay, Gary, thank you so much.
Well, thank you to Amy. And I thank you for starting off with a story like that, because the second you said, you know, would you do this, I said, it took 12 seconds to say yes, I would love to do that. I have always felt that this town could really use a gallery, right? I mean, it's perfect for a gallery. And so this is great. It's a great start. It's a wonderful, wonderful works all around here. So thank you all for contributing to this. This is great. In terms of art, what would I say? I always try to just put up something that's going to catch your eye when you come in, just draw you in, so I hope that it does that. It's wonderful to see and to mingle with people here who are so into art, because so many times I think a lot of people will go into a restaurant or a home or even an art show and just kind of go through and don't give works a chance. You really do need to step up, look at it, give it a chance, and it might not be something you think right off the bat, oh, I don't like modern art, or I don't like this kind of art. If you give it a chance, you might find that you really just go, wow, you know, hey, I kind of like that. You know, it's wonderful to just give yourself a chance to do that. So this is great, very interesting, love it, and I love meeting all of you folks. Hope you love the works, and hope we have many more of these types of openings. So look forward to that. Yes. Thank you guys, and thanks Amy for doing all that.
So in case of your orientation, I had put everybody coming here. So the art shows, like Gary Polonski's art show, will be in the Bay Window Room, and this is our general gallery in this area. But my hope also is other things are created here, like yoga classes and music lessons and a place to meet in a beautiful space if you have a committee meeting of some kind. So it is open for that. And if you're having a hard time reaching me in the winter, it's because I'll be skiing. I don't take my cell phone on the mountain. So just know that I will always.
How did you get into painting? You always...
I've always been an artist. I was a kid in the junior high and elementary school, and even in high school, we would just draw. I can draw. I've been blessed to draw very well. There's a big difference between drawing and painting, because drawing is the start of the process, but then painting is the second step. But I went to college as a journalism major. But then very quickly realized I was drawing and painting more than I was getting into my studies, and so I switched majors my second year. And this is at University of Massachusetts at Amherst, and I was just blessed to have a great program, arts program at UMass. I studied under a guy named John.
Maybe that was going to go.
Had a very big impact on my painting. The colors, mostly oranges and yellows, he had a really good, real big impact.
So, I'm very intrigued with your style, especially the relief. You know, you really get a feeling of emotion when you look at something like that, and it goes right off the map.
Yeah, that comes afterwards, you know, and so we'll actually show that painting in a little bit, but it's, you know, when you finish a work, I always like to finish it off with the frames as well. And so you come up after you sort of get through the actual painting itself to say, oh, how am I going to frame this up? I think that the frame should be part of the work. And so that's a little bit of a wait and see with the frame itself.
Yeah.
In that particular painting, I just saw the opportunity to have the snow blast off and move on to the frame itself. But I use a lot of texture in my paintings. I think it creates a different plane of viewing. And definitely like to each time work with the color, so it just speaks up and says, look at me. You know, it just, it can't be ignored at all. So I try to just make sure that that there's a little bit of motion of maybe turn it down a verb, if you will, so that painting, but it's actually doing something.
Nice.
Yeah, you really get that feeling of being alive, you know?
Thank you. Yes, and so it's a matter of each time that I start over, it starts with just a grid system, really, usually from the photograph to the grid to the painting, explode it up into the size, and then I just keep working it from there, and just build on the.
When I walked in the door and looked down there, it's like this thing kind of blows you right away.
I was hoping that would happen. This is my shower painting, and interestingly enough, this painting spanned probably about a 5 to 6 year period. I began this in college. So this is when I talked before about John Grillo. He's an American master that I studied under. He has this ability to, in his paintings, as you look at the surface, it almost kind of moves on you a little bit. And that's a combination of not only the composition with the squares, but also the colors. Just the closeness of the two oranges and the yellows to each other. They end up sort of doing a little play on your eyes as you look at them, and it just gives you a little bit of movement.
Interesting.
And so when I had started this painting, I just sort of got a thought, hey, I could actually do a shower where when the water was coming down, it would show the motion across the background and actually move that, and then I could show the suds type of an effect down here. This is done with a fan brush. A fan brush is shaped like this, and it's just a lot of movement like this, and you just continually move through, and you just do the whole thing. And so what you do is you start with usually a dark color, and then you'll go with another color and another color, and you just keep going back and back and back into it. It takes a long time. You have to let the first layer dry, of course, and then go back at it. And also every one of these colors are probably painted maybe 4 or 5 coats, every single one of them, to get the vividness that you see here. And then after that, it's done with a glaze over it so that it gives a little bit of that shimmery type of effect. So that's, this painting was started in college and then redone because the bottom wasn't quite right. And I redid this bottom and probably about 3 or 4 or 5 years after that. And yeah, it's a painting hopefully that grabs your eye.
Yeah, it certainly does. Right, I'm gonna swap and maybe try to get, or maybe over here.
Frenchman Hole, is that?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Everyone knows about that.
Let's say, I've been there.
Yes, yeah. So this painting is a little bit different in the sense that it's a landscape, but then I saw the opportunity to do a little bit of what you have going on here with the water coming through, but more in a horizontal fashion, not vertical. And so it kind of makes the water glimmer a little bit. And I just found the opportunity with the darker green and the light green, and then these others in here, and to make it look like a shimmer in the water. It just worked. It just happened. And then a lot of glaze, so that it looks sort of wet.
Yeah.
And of course, this waterfall is just a distinctive quality of Frenchman's Hole.
Yeah. Everybody wants to know about Big Poppy.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so the Big Poppy painting, of course, we've talked about the shower painting and some of these other paintings. It's a lot different from the standpoint that it's a portrait, but it's a portrait of a real icon in Boston. But this particular painting is about the Boston Marathon bombing. So what you see here is obviously Big Poppy. I tried to put a little bit of wetness in his eyes, so he looks like, of course, like he's very emotional in this particular scene. And what I did was I just used texture, and I put the sort of the meat of the speech that he did after the Boston Marathon bombing is right here, and you can kind of pick it up. And of course, in that speech, he uses the F word. And of course, I couldn't put that in a painting. So when it gets down to this is our blank city, I just did like sort of ampersand and sort of other symbols because I just couldn't have that in a painting. But it was a punctuation in his speech that was incredibly important. So yeah, Big Poppy's just what a guy, what a career. I'm a big baseball fan. I grew up at Fenway Park. I worked as a vendor at Fenway Park for 23 years. I started at age 14, ended up, sold popcorn, sold ice cream, sold all of the foods, and worked my way up to be at the main gate selling programs, and that's kind of like the top of the food chain, if you will, with selling products at Fenway Park. But so I kind of grew up there, and so the Red Sox and Big Poppy mean a lot.
So there's a lot of being in ski country. Everybody can kind of relate to maybe coming down White Heat and
Yep.
a snowstorm.
So I did a series of paintings of all of my favorite slopes at Sunday River. I'm an avid skier. My wife and I ski there all the time. Kids all ski there too. I ski about 70 days a year. Skied this morning. Conditions are fantastic right now for November. It's amazing. But anyhow, I did all my favorite slopes. I did White Heat, did Obsession, did a painting of Risky Business, did a painting of Flying Monkey, and all of them sold. This is the last one left. This is 3D, and this here is this is a different approach where there's squares in the background. And what I did was I took a template, and in each one of the squares you'll see the same repetition is repeated. But what I did on the square, on the template, is I put a 1, a 2, a 3, and a 4 on the template, and I would just rotate it each time on an angle. Rotate it again and just trace it and do it again. And so this is all black and white when I started, in back of the skier, of course. And then I just went in one level, painted all of this in one type of a color, and then came out and did this in a different type of a color, trying to bring out his outfit into this frame and then out here with the frame itself. And so what I wanted to create was the skier bursting through this sort of a background and just coming through with the snow just smashing up and him coming through, coming off of a bump. And 3D is a great bump slope. I actually did it this morning, and you just pound that snow and just come right through it. So I wanted the painting to just be that kind of a burst.
You certainly captured it, I would.
Thank you.
Now this
Yes.
one over here really
Yes.
strikes my eye. It reminds me more of what a street photographer would do.
Yes. So this is one of my favorite paintings, and it's a direction I want to go in the future. I've done some other things with the color in the past, but this particular type of a painting I'd like to do a little bit more of. This is a painting, I wanted to do a pickpocket painting. A guy I work with down in Boston, he happens to be a CEO of an organization that I work with down there. He and I were talking, he likes my work, my paintings, and I said that I'm going to do a painting of you, in the lobby with your pocket watch, just kind of standing there, old-fashioned type. And he said, the only thing I'd be having in my hand is somebody else's wallet. He just made that comment, and I said, hey, I'm going to do a painting of somebody taking a wallet. And so I found a photograph, a black and white photograph of a subway scene where somebody was picking a wallet. And the interesting thing about it being black and white was then I could choose whatever colors I wanted for all of the various people in the painting. So that gave me an opportunity to use my sense of color that I love so much and work it into this very interesting sort of a scene. I ride the subway a lot in Boston, and so I do know what it's like. So I wanted to make it one of these types of paintings where you can look at it and maybe not even notice the pickpocket, because that's what a pickpocket does, right? He just kind of sneaks it in. And I wanted that to be snuck in. And then after I finished, and I did his coat, I said, you know what, let's finish it up with a frame and bring his coat into the frame. And it kind of does just, that blue works and it comes back in. When you look at a work of art, you really want to be looking at it and you want to keep the viewer's eye in. You don't want to lose them. And that's what I tried to do with the frame, is to keep you in so that when you look at it, you feel comfortable staying there. You just kind of want to stay and look at it, look at it, look at it, and try to figure out what's going on and what does it mean to you. So that's, I always think about that when I'm working on a painting, is how am I going to keep the viewer in and not lose them.
It also, to me, it has the subtlety of saying, okay, buddy, your frame, we got you.
Yeah.
You're caught.
Well, yeah, you know, I didn't think of that, but you're probably right, because it's saying, hey, I got you. Yep. Thank you. Yeah, and so then I had to think about this background in here. How was I going to have that recede behind the actual folks in the painting, but also be interesting? So I came up with this approach to kind of just dab at it, while keeping the lighting correct.
Yeah.
You know, and because each one of these figures are going to throw some shadows, and the seats had to also come through, so I had to figure that out. And then I had these poles that you grab when you're on the subway. I wanted that to create sort of a section, if you will.
Yeah.
This is the main frame, and that's the other. And so I used that to section it off. There's a lot to think about.
Yeah. This is another water painting, and you really do get to see movement.
This painting here is in a series of with the shower painting, and so I've got the faucet painting, and then I get the garden hose painting and the shower painting. Because of the sort of success, if you will, of the shower painting, so many people like it. I thought that I would do a different version of that with the water hose. And so the idea was let's do the background like I did in the shower painting, but also incorporate that approach of, I did a template again, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the template, and then I would place it this way. On the next frame down, I would turn it, and then I would go up this way and just draw them. And it creates a bit of a, movement each way by just using that template and just tracing it and then figuring out what colors you're going to do. And then I really this is actually fun to do, it's just, then it was a matter of just a small brush, boom, 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 and just, layer of color coming across like this. And then just letting it sort of leak down, because when you spray a hose and all of them stay together, of course a little bit of it comes down.
Yeah.
So the idea was to try to have it go like that. And this yellow, gloved hand in here, I wanted to keep it close enough to these colors where it would recede and come back and kind of play with your eye a little bit, where you'd almost not see it and then see it, and almost not see it and then see it. Because it's kind of the way that I try to make the painting work a little bit.
Yeah.
And then of course the outside is just a sort of, you mask it off, you do the fan brush, and just keep going around and then go back in and paint it up. This is, these are all probably 3 or 4 layers of color in here, just painted and painted and painted. It actually takes a long time to do a painting like this, even though it's so tiny. It's just you have to really get the richness of the color and just keep painting and keep painting it.
Amazing. This would be the third in the series.
Yes. Yep. So this, again, is the third in the sort of the water series, if you will, with the shower and the water hose, and this is the faucet. I do like this. So this is interesting in that the faucet just sort of, where it looks like it's sitting, and then it isn't, right? Because it doesn't have a flat surface that it's against. And so I kind of like that. It kind of throws your eye off a little bit. So it's kind of floating, and it's floating. The idea was to take this purple from the inside out here. What I do is I take like a texture and I put it around the outside, let it dry, and then I paint that, and then just paint against it right here. You know, just very carefully, just draw. I have a pretty steady hand, thankfully, and just kind of go across like this and just draw the line. You know.
Now, do you make the frames?
Make the frames myself. And I always try to do a little something different with the frames.
Yeah.
It's very important, I think, to not just do a painting and then go to a store and buy a frame and put it around. I can't do that. I like to do a painting and make a frame to actually be part of the painting. I end up doing it this big, 5/4 pine, and then I just cut out this section here, and then so this is actually one piece of wood, even the black,
Yeah.
and it's just just picture frame it, just cut it with a chop saw. I'm actually pretty good with carpentry, so it ends up helping. I make all my stretches and all my frames, and I stretch my own canvases. I don't buy them pre-stretched or anything. I call it the haunted birch because it's a big, not a little birch, a big, fat, wide birch, and it's got all that craggy sort of outside, and it has this little away section in here, probably ants or something, and then it has a hole up here, and it almost looks like a face, if you will. And I always said when we were walking, I'm going to paint that tree. And so I'm glad I did because it's falling down now. It's just this arm is falling off, and I call it an arm, and it's just getting more and more eaten. And so I took a picture of it, and then painted it, and then in the fall when the trees begin to change, it just happened that it had this sort of yellowish green leaves, and it was just perfect, to kind of have that come around it. And then I had this real opportunity with the frame. I had done it before with another painting I did, to do this outside like that, to look like a couple pieces of birch. Just brought it on the outside. I think that the frame really does a lot for the painting. It really kind of, if I didn't have that, it wouldn't be quite as striking without that outside.